Asking about responsibility with regards to archaeological sites and materials is definitely a minefield. I think that there's no inherently right answer, and to some degree, the considerations we have to bring there are contextual in terms of the modern and very shifting contexts within which we work. And to a large degree, I think that Brown's responsibility can't be determined by any static set of ethics. It's rather in consultation with the Jordanian government and what the Jordanian government wants from us at any given point. Now, that has to be a symbiotic relationship, that's okay. But this is a site in Jordan, and it is the cultural heritage of Jordan before it's the cultural heritage of the world. I think that Brown has been quite good about this, I hope, in terms of listening to other voices and being part of a dialogue and a discourse instead of being a dictator. But exactly how that operates has to shift over time. And a good example is the fact that the artifacts that you can see on display in the Joukowsky Institute in Rhode Island Hall now are here. That's by agreement with the Jordanian government. The Joukowskis had an excellent working relationship at all levels in Jordan, on the ground, in Petra. When I went back this year for the first time, people's attachment to Martha is still a topic of discussion on the street in Petra. But it also required finesse dealing with the government. I mean, this is really, these objects are owned by the Jordanian government. They're here on loan to the Joukowsky Institute with the hope that by promoting our own involvement in Jordan, we can spread knowledge and excite more people about going to and learning about Jordan. And I think that is a responsibility we then have, is not just to treat these objects physically properly, but to use them and to tell their stories in ways that make people interested in them.
The kind of work that we're doing with BubTap is sort of intricately connected to the production of the monumental tombs. And the Byzantine church at Petra has this beautiful mosaic floor, but it's important to realize that that's sort of a different period in the life of the city than some of the other ruins that you see. And so that's the kind of thing that often, I think, just visiting an archaeological site can sometimes be hard to understand, and that archaeologists can help by sort of just making the information accessible in a variety of different formats. I think things like audio tours help. I think different kinds of materials, and to keep in mind that people sort of learn in different ways. So some people really like to take tours with tour guides. Some people really like to explore sites on their own. Some people like to read before they go. Some people like to have a lot of signage at a site. And I think the more ways that you can come up with to sort of try to share the information, and also to sort of to make sure that when people are out, people who are interested in sites like Petra, they often sort of show a lot of initiative in looking for information. And if we're not the ones producing websites and YouTube videos and tour guides and things like that, then that gap gets filled by other people who sometimes don't have the knowledge that we've been gaining through excavation because we haven't shared it with them. So,
in terms of Brown's responsibility to Petra, I think as the sponsor and as the kind of active participant in field work at the site, I think its responsibilities are similar to that of any other institution that sponsors or finances field work abroad, which is to be respectful, mindful, and to, as much as possible, accommodate the needs and interests of the groups that we're interacting with and that we're working with. So part of that, it means being very upfront and being very honest with what it is that we intend to do at Petra. So when we submit our permits, we're always, sort of as clear as possible about what we're going to do, how we're going to both, recover materials, but also preserve them, store them, curate them. But then also that I think we have a very strong responsibility and obligation to the communities that we're working with and that we're living with. And so a lot of that is, again, being respectful, being honest, being friendly at the very least, honestly, but also making sure that the impact that we leave is a positive one. I think a lot of archaeological projects strive to kind of just get in and out and don't leave any traces, but that never happens. Any project in any place is going to leave some kind of lasting impact, and so I think as much as possible we have to make sure that that is a positive one, and that the kind of relationships that we build are sort of mutually positive, mutually responsible, and that kind of persist beyond, just the 3 weeks or 4 weeks that we're actually in Jordan. It's called the Brown University Petra Terraces Archaeological Project, but our team is made up of people from all kinds of different universities, not just in the U.S. And so we definitely do want to be open and engaging and very transparent about what we're doing. And so that means publishing frequently, presenting our research frequently, and doing that in a pretty expedient way.